We're now live with Jonathan and Joshua. Jonathan, the dating relationship expert.
Oh, good Lord.
By the way, is this painful enough for you, Josh? Do you want to see...
This is the best idea we've ever had. Frankly, I am thrilled to hear about two single guys talk about relationship troubles. I'm even more excited about next week's episode when we give advice on maternity issues.
That's right. What to do when you need to stop that morning puke and you just don't have the time to deal with it.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Okay, well, look, this is the reason why I brought this up, because I call this emergency session of the conservative echo chamber.
I'm about to call an emergency session myself. What is with those glasses?
I stole them from a model.
Oh. I was about to go on a whole hipster rant and saying, "No, John, don't become a..." But
I'm just too original for lenses, man. I just don't deal with that kind of stuff.
Was she hot?
Excuse me while I get my mocha chai latte grande with no fat decaf and soy milk on top. Spoiler, I'm actually below the waist. I'm actually wearing sweatpants. That's the best part of this outfit right now. It is. I was like, let's dress really attractively tonight.
This is not hard enough for what lies ahead.
Okay, no, this is why I brought this up though, because I like to listen to a lot of relationship and dating advice and stuff, partly for the lulz, because let's be honest, when Cosmopolitan puts out its like 23rd article of 10 new ways to please your man and experiment sexually.
Okay, what have we not done yet? I'm sorry, but humans have been around for how long? I'm pretty sure we have tried everything there is to try, aside from technological intervention.
There's a specific technique where you administer ice cubes with a wooden spoon while your partner is bent over and like legs are split. It's difficult. It involves
Lord.
A pneumatic pipe. Look,
you mean to tell me they haven't tried that in Alaska at least once? No, I don't care. There are no new experimental techniques. I guarantee you, whatever you're about to suggest, someone's tried it. Heck, it's probably in someone's holy scriptures. I won't name anything.
To be fair, the Kama Sutra was pretty thorough, so I've heard, but it's also really screwed up. Like the whole thing where it's like this whole holy grail of like sexual technique is false. There's just some really messed up stuff in there. I do not recommend learning Hindi just to read it. I haven't, but I have it on good authority. It's really messed up. That being said, by the way, there was someone was asking me. They were looking over our videos and asked me if I hate vegans based on the title of the last video. I do not hate vegans. In fact, I don't really judge people based on what they choose to eat, unless they unless you're the type of person to sit there and Okay, let me put it. The only time I ever judged a person for eating was way back in 2009. I was working for a steam cleaner, and we went to clean out. I think it was a Ponderosa, maybe, or a hospital. It was a smaller restaurant that had a buffet style eating.
Right.
And we got there at 15 minutes past closing time. Okay. And it was completely vacant except for one person. There was one person. You want to guess what this person was doing?
Complaining about the napkins?
No. It was a guaranteed 400 to 500 pound fat guy by himself. Okay, by himself on this one side, just eating food and like 2 or 3 plates still on his table that he was eating. So we're like, okay, well we'll take care of the other half of the restaurant, and so we started clearing up tables, putting the chairs on top of the tables to give us room to steam clean. Kind of being like, hey, maybe the part where they said, "Oh, we're closing now," wasn't a strong enough hint. We're kind of cleaning the restaurant now. This guy goes and gets like 2 more plates full of food from the buffet while we're doing this, and continues to eat that.
Clean his chair while he's gone. You're not going to be able to pick him up and clean underneath him. Just a thought.
I'm just saying, that is the only time I've ever judged a person harshly for eating, because I'm sitting here going like, you're fat and alone and eating food at 9:30 at night in a Ponderosa alone. Do you think there might be a connection here? And you're going for force, like only time. Okay, so this is my spiel about it. Whatever your eating choices and your eating lifestyle is, as long as you don't sit there and judge me for my choice to enjoy steak and enjoy pizza with all the meat toppings and enjoy, like barbecued chicken, I'm not going to judge you for eating salad. Or vegetarian, tofu, whatever it is. I'm not going to, as long as you don't judge me for it, I'm not going to judge you for it. And that whole video, what it was is basically me saying, look, there is a certain subculture within veganism of people who say, I'm a vegan and therefore I'm morally superior than you based on my choice to be vegan. And that's what I don't like. I severely do not like it.
Just work in the food industry for a while, especially in my experience, grocery stores, and you will understand why people have a particular image of these sorts of people. For example, aisle 2 in the local ShopRite is the either adult nutrition or the gluten-free or other things, and no one who works there wants to assist anyone in that aisle because it is populated solely. And yes, populated. I think they live there.
I have no response on that.
I've never met a more entitled group of people in the entirety of my work life.
It is pretty. There are certain subsets of people that, like, literally the thing is for me is like, and I think we can both agree on this, is like whatever your lifestyle is, as long as it's not really weird, like cannibalism. I'm sorry, if you're a cannibal, we can't be friends. Sorry, look, I just don't want to like wake up and you're gnawing on my leg and going, I love you this much. Not my thing.
Look, it's not the diet, it's the snootiness that turns people off. Get rid of that, and people might look at you as human. Treat us as human. We'd be happy to return the favor.
Okay. So that aside,
have we satisfied your need for tangents yet?
I did want to bring up the fact that you think that sake, drinking like vodka before like an opera performance, like because to be clear, I've done multiple vocal performances. Okay, and granted, when I did them, I was probably underage for the majority of them. But even as an adult, when I was doing plays, when I was doing different performances, I've never once had a person say to me, "Oh yeah, just take a shot of vodka. It'll just cleanse your vocals and make you sound so great." Never happened to me.
Well, it's not something you use all of the time. However, it is something you do take. For example, I wouldn't call it a painkiller exactly, but it does loosen you up a little bit.
I mean, relationship painkiller, maybe?
It's hard to get it in correct doses when dealing with relationships, although...
Yes, the dosage may vary depending on your ability to handle a relationship.
Do not operate heavy dates or heavy machinery after this many shots.
Yes. Okay, so the reason why is like I said, I like to listen to dating podcasts. Every time I meet someone who's like, I do stuff about dating and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, show me your stuff, because there's just some things that I just love getting into, and it's just a part of who I am. Like, I don't demand other people get into it. I just really love it. And one of the things is dating and relationships, because the nature of man and woman is really fascinating to me. And so I was listening to this podcast, and they were talking about like what guys are versus what girls are. And this guy starts talking to me, and he, for some reason, he feels the need to preface his statement. And this is the thing that bugged me, was, let me be clear, all men are really stupid. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. All men are stupid. And it's bad enough when a girl goes like, oh, boys are stupid, throw rocks at them. But when I hear a man like prefacing his statement, his excuse for male behavior by saying, let me be clear, men are stupid, that really kills me, because I'm like, no, I 100% agree that there is a certain crisis of masculinity amongst men, especially in America today. But to just simply say, oh yeah, boys are stupid, is so like just washes all that away and just makes this whole like oh yeah, here's this excuse, boys are stupid. No, it's the same thing as saying like girls are crazy. Like
Well,
it's just an excuse not to understand what's going on with the opposite sex for a particular thing.
look,
And there was a specific. Oh wait, you say what you're gonna say.
well, I was just going to make a not so nice comment and say, a man standing up and saying something like that. There's an old Hebrew term for a man like that. The term is desperate.
Oh, okay. Sure. I forget. I think the guy actually might have been married, but
Then there's a Greek word for that. It's whipped.
I think that's also a type of cream cheese as well.
Probably also Greek.
But it just kills me because what you're talking about is not boys being stupid and women being crazy. I think we like to say that just as a reason not to address what's really going on. And when you refuse to address what's really going on, you miss a valuable opportunity to actually like have a moment of communication between the sexes where you can actually be like, okay, I'm going to get to understand you and you're going to get to understand me at a fundamental level where, the next time this happens, you can see what's going on with me and respond in an appropriate way that really helps me out. And when you're having something that causes you to respond in this way that we just say, oh, she's crazy, I can respond in a way that's helpful to you. And we can, we can help each other. It's crazy. I know it's a crazy idea. It really is. I mean, I think it's a relatively new technique, this helping each other thing. I think we only came out as like 2013, maybe 2012 that this thing came out. So granted, crazy stuff, right?
Naturally.
Naturally. So this is, and actually you and I both watched Bill Whittle. And the way that he explained it, I think he stole it from someone else, whatever. It was stolen from one person to another person to another person.
He said it better. It's like spaghetti. Chinese made it first, Italians made it better.
Sure. Sure. Why not? Why not? Maybe okay.
I'm keeping a scorecard. How many obscure metaphors I can work into your rants?
We tried this egg noodle. Well, hey, why don't we just throw some tomatoes on it? That'll make it better. Yes. Hey. How many ethnicities can you insult in one day? So the
Next
way
one,
that
I get it for you Sunday.
The way that's described and that I find really, really appropriate is that for girls and guys, there's the way that we communicate is based on the way that we think. And so the way men and women think is very different. Men tend to be very, very compartmentalized. All right. So we have an ability to take, certain things and just think of it as almost like a chest, a tool chest with a whole bunch of little drawers. Right. And a guy can take out one, and this is his work drawer, and he pulls it out, and he looks at it, and he does his work, then he puts it back in, and then he goes home, and he takes out his home drawer, and he lounges on the couch, whatever, watches sports, and and there's just for every part of his life, there's different compartments, and one of the things you'll notice is that the more insane a man gets, the more like emotionally unstable a guy gets, the more those drawers, as they were, get really cluttered. But a guy who's generally sane and who's quote unquote has his shit together, is able to keep stuff compartmentalized in a very efficient kind of way. And of course, there I'll also have the anecdote of, which I find to be completely true, is there's one drawer in the tool chest that is completely empty. So, and it's true. Like there are girls, if you've ever been on a date with a guy and he's like staring off into the distance, and you say, "What are you thinking about?" and he responds with nothing, it's probably nothing. It's like 99% chance. Like if he seems like he was just kind of out of it, like it's probably thinking about nothing. Like literally, I know for girls that's kind of like an insane proposition because girls are completely for girls everything is intertwined. Everything relates to everything. Everything it's like a big ball of wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff. To steal a quote from Doctor Who, it's like a big a big bunch of cables like all jumbled together. And so every time something happens, it affects everything else. That's why whenever a girl, whenever you're texting between guys and girls, it's very common. Like girls, if you see a text coming from a guy, what he says is probably what he means. Right? So if you're waiting for a guy to text and he probably takes too long and, he says, "So sorry, I fell asleep," or something. And, this is my response. I want to say something that's probably going to blow your mind. He probably fell asleep. Follow this on me, Josh. He probably fell asleep and is now just texting you. And then
I can't handle this.
I know it's insane. And then of course on the other side you have girls who very often like to, because they they take everything and interpret it as being intertwined with everything. Everything they say, whenever they get a text from a guy, they'll go and call their female friends and be like, what does this mean? What does it, what are the 20 different ways that we can interpret this? How should I respond? And come up with a response and figure out like exactly how to word it and how
get
to
get all their friends together.
Yeah.
They try to do translation work. Well, you see, in the 2013 era, this message typically meant that he was in a sleep-like state, but one could also interpret it that he was actually checking out the waiter earlier today, and he's not sure how to tell you. You mean waitress, right? No, that's sexist. We don't say that anymore.
It's a server. But so this is the thing. I actually love this dynamic between man and woman, because I'm an old school sexist. I'm not an old school bigot. I'm not like, go get pregnant. I'm going to impregnate you and then send you to the kitchen to be barefoot for all your days. Not that, but I'm of the opinion, like in a relationship, generally the man is the leader and the woman is under his. I actually put on my Facebook earlier. I finally figured this out. Okay, this is what women want in a man. Okay, she want a man who is a tank with a plush velvet interior. That's how it's supposed to be.
Sorry, what?
In other words, a man.
Now are you trying to outlandish metaphor me? I never thought someone would actually try to do it, but you're really trying.
Follow me on this, Josh. In other words, like when a girl's in a relationship with a guy, she wants to be with a guy that she can trust to be, almost invincible to the world, where she can trust that no matter what's happened during the day, no matter what's going on, he's got it handled. Maybe he's not a perfect guy, but no matter what, he's got some way of addressing it, right? And then she also knows that when it comes to her and her alone, there's a special soft side of him where he's going to take on the world for her and protect her. There's another phrase that I really like. It's called the heart-connected killer, right? Or to go really old school, the warrior poet. Yeah. Where on the one hand, a man is willing to kill to protect his land, to defend his nation, right? But then he'll come home and he'll write beautiful poetry. He's connected to both to his entire humanity. He can both do what is necessary to survive in the world. He's aware of the world, but also he can slow down. He can almost like slow down time and be like, I'm going to connect with you in this moment. And of course, in order for that dynamic to happen, where a girl can open up to a guy and trust him and let him basically take her on this journey with him, this romance, there has to be this dynamic. Because if a guy is wounded, right, he becomes something that needs fixing, and the girl can't trust him, right? So it becomes necessary for a man to be able to compartmentalize things so that he can basically say, and this is actually one of the reasons why, for another discussion, I reject the notion that a husband and wife should be best friends.
Ugh.
I reject that notion, but there's a reason why though. So that aside, so going to this method of thinking, right? So the man has to be able to compartmentalize, right? This is how I'm going to act towards the world. This is how I'm going to treat the woman that I'm with. And on the other hand, when a girl is very emotionally intertwined, where everything affects everything, so like the way someone mistreated her at work, maybe, like makes it so that she's really crabby at home, like that might suck for a lot of guys who don't know what's going on. But for a guy who's able to learn to read what's going on, right? This is the part where men and women have to help each other, where as a man, it becomes important for you to be able to compartmentalize, but also to recognize what's going on in another woman, and for a woman to be able to experience everything that's going on with her, but also to be able to communicate effectively and not overthink what's going on with her man, is that a man who's in her life will actually be able to see what's going on and be able to read that there's something wrong. And not only that, but he'll also be, because he knows everything's interconnected, he'll also be able to not take offense when she flips out on him or something. And he can instead say, you know what, I see that something's going on. Let's take care of that together. Does that make sense?
So basically, men's brains are tackle boxes, women's brains are birds' nests.
Yes. And sometimes women lay an egg.
What? Abandoned
We're going
metaphor.
with bad metaphors right now.
Abandoned
so why
metaphor.
Not? Why not? Eject! Eject! We're going down!
Get out of there! Get out of there!
This is why I'm wearing what I'm wearing right now. In case I say something really wrong, I can just be like, look at my getup. Why did you even believe me in the first place?
I thought it was to show off your chest. Got a bit of a low neckline there. You're making me stumble. Hey!
Like I said, I did this. By the way, this outfit was not planned for this podcast.
You walk around your house like this. Oh, that's perfect.
No,
That's
no,
perfect.
What? Okay, look, man. I was.
If I come on next week and your hair is strawberry blonde, I quit. I quit life.
A selfie, and decided to spice it up a little bit.
Oh, really? I was trying to make myself gorgeous. Can't help it.
I was making myself pretty for the day.
I was going to see, the one at the desk.
Julia. She's crazy. She says this, she means that. She's just kind of a psycho bitch.
She's like me. She's very fickle. She's very fickle.
That's actually, what's interesting to me is this is not related to the prior conversation, but a thought that just occurred to me. By the way, for girls who are listening, that means that a thought just did occur to me.
Novel.
And I actually want your feedback on this, because this is something that I kind of agreed with, kind of disagree with. Is there was a woman who was a dating coach who actually was in a conversation with in a forum, actually said like whenever I go home, I really want to just feel like my husband's listening to me. It doesn't matter that he gets everything that I'm saying or that he's actually listening, but I like to be able to just be free and express myself and have him there.
And make sure he says nothing back, because there's nothing I like less than when he tries to say anything back when I need to talk about things.
Now, I will say this, though. I like the fact that here's the thing is when it comes to expressing what exactly is going on, we have the stereotype where men are really logical and women are really emotional. And I kind of half reject that in the sense that women can be very logical. And I know we've both seen men just be complete dicks and idiots because they can't contain themselves. They don't have their shit together, right? But in the context of a relationship, emotional language is very much a thing. They're like body language and tonality and getting what's going on with another person without necessarily paying attention to the words, but rather the context in which the words are spoken, right? And so when someone says that, and this is one of the things I found out is like when it comes to being with a woman, it's very important to be able to understand what's going on at a fundamental level, even if she can't say exactly what's going on. Because the more a woman has to be really, really intensely logical and explain exactly what's going on with her in a very logical fashion, she kind of is putting up a mental barrier where she's saying, now I have to concentrate and now I have to stop being, however I feel like being. Now I got to stop and be really ironclad in logic. And so what often falls upon the man, and I think a lot of guys miss this, is being able to give a girl the chance to be her full feminine, sexy, free, loving self, right? To be everything that she is. Just create the space where she can just totally just be. And then also be able to appreciate it and get her in a way that maybe she can't even explain. But she just feels like, I totally get that you understand me right now.
You should just understand what I mean.
Don't mock it, man. I'm making a point here.
It's frustrating.
This is some high-level stuff.
It's frustrating.
Right? I'm gonna record this, and it's gonna be a seminar. I'm gonna charge $500 per head, man. You don't even know. Don't even know.
You're not a feminist victim. You'll never make it.
We're not gonna get. Oh, don't even get into feminism. But no, that's this whole conversation is why I hate when people say, men are dumb and girls are crazy, because in my opinion there is this huge disparity between where men are and where they should be in order to have healthy communication with women. There are whole websites
suggest
now.
An alternative.
Oh, what's that?
I think rather it's men play dumb. I don't think that men could possibly, as a collective, be as dumb as they are perceived to be. However,
men, if you're talking globally, then I agree. But within American culture, I think a lot of men are growing up in divorced households, in households where they just spent all their time around their mom and never around their dad. So they never assuming that their dad even knows how to healthily communicate with women and with other men. He's never exposed to it. You have an entire generation growing up without seeing their parents interact healthily. Like they're like the number of people that I know that I know for a fact that I've seen their parents actually have healthy communication interaction, I could count on one hand maybe. Like it's that low. And I mean, granted, nobody's perfect, but when it's that low, my interpretation is like, yeah, there are a lot of guys who are lacking the knowledge. And this is where we come into what you and I are familiar with, is a phrase called the bigotry of low expectation, where instead of like saying, okay, I recognize that there's this problem in society where men are on the one hand not given the tools to become a man, and at the same time we mock them for not being men, and we should address that in some way. Instead of doing that, we say, oh, boys are dumb. Boys are stupid, right? And on the other hand, you have people saying, oh, women are oppressed, women are victims, women all this stuff. And then they say women are crazy. Instead of saying, and they say that as an excuse to get around the fact of, there are women who are growing up without seeing healthy relationships between their mother and their father. So they get, into the workplace, they get, into school, and they don't know how to expect to be treated by a man. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to say in her own words, this is how I expect to be treated as a woman. This is how I'm going to respond to you when you treat me like a woman as a man. I think that's largely missing from this culture. I think that's why we have this huge amount of hookup culture. That's just people are free to engage in it, but I very rarely, I've talked to multiple.
Doesn't mean we have to like it or condone it.
Right. Well, because I talked to multiple people who have been fuck buddies, who have been casual sex, and over and over again the story is exactly the same. Casual sex turns into something else because, surprise, surprise, when you have sex, it releases oxytocin, and oxytocin in the brain is a bonding chemical. There's literally, you cannot have, the more you have sex with a single person, the more your brain becomes chemically addicted to that person. That's just what happens. And people can talk about casual sex and call it, fuck buddies and all these, whatever they want to call it. It doesn't change biology and chemistry. It just doesn't. You're on. Go.
I tend to see it in this way. What is the best way to hide one's inadequacies? To overcompensate in an area you are competent. For example, if you are growing up without ever having a father figure, a male role model in your life, what do?
Right.
You play to whatever strengths you happen to have. Now,
and you make excuses to hide your pitfalls.
Okay,
this is behind the whole men are stupid thing instead of actually getting smart about communicating with women. A lot of guys will take that.
It's the path of least resistance. Let me take the most obscure segue I can possibly think and then bring it all back. I promise we'll bring it all back together.
All right, hold on. Let me hitch up. All right, we're ready to go now.
Here we go. The stereotype that in modern day sitcoms, only men are allowed to be the buffoons, the idiots, the dolts.
Well, it's not men. The thing is, it's not generally men. It's very specifically fathers and And I don't know if you've noticed this, in kid movies, there's often a buffoonish cop or a buffoonish authority figure.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me like those two specific things. And of course, on the other hand, you have the wife who is super intelligent and does all the work. Or if there's a woman who's an authority figure, what is she? She's usually very very intelligent, very sharp, but she's also like overcompensating and super like hard on everybody and basically a cold-hearted bitch to use the generalization.
Well, all right, how do we tie it all together?
Yeah.
Well, there's a particular ideology known as feminism that seems to take issue with negative portrayals of women in media or in everyday life. And I don't know how to explain it. Perhaps you can help me with this one. But when you depart from the normal male and female roles, how we interact with one another, there seems to be a shift. If, for example, the woman seeks more dominance, there must be necessarily a shift in the man to correspond with this shift. So, if a woman decides to be more assertive, then the man either will clash and it won't work, or the man will become a bit more submissive, the counterbalance. Right. So, now imagine it like this. Now, in the age of feminism, women are expected not just to take on female characteristics, but male ones as well. And males are demonized for portraying male characteristics, beginning in grade school. Told that if you have too much energy, if you're too assertive, if you're too loud, if you're too rough, if you're too competitive, then you are defective. So, right. If you take out all of these core male traits, what is left? Well, they won't respect you if you're a woman. They have no need for women. They're already women. So, you adopt the roles of children. Children do not seem to have as well-defined characteristics as an adult man or adult woman.
Are you saying that guys end up acting like children?
I think it's actually the smart play. Acting like the dopey idiot. In a way, they perceive it to be the smart play.
It's the less psychologically, it's less painful. It's less pain because if you play the child, there's this element of being a child where you're being like naive and ignorant of the world at large.
Well, think about it. If you are punished for being assertive, if you are punished for taking lead, if you're punished for being masculine, and you really don't have the capacity to be feminine, you don't have the necessary hardwiring to be truly feminine, what's left? You can either take the path of most resistance and try to break through it anyway, or the path of least resistance.
It actually sounds like what you're actually saying is not that you take the, it's not that guys take the path of, well, I mean, there is a path of least resistance, but let me say it this way. It seems to me guys, many guys, not all, but a large number of them are prevented from growing up. It's not that they choose to be children. It's they can't grow up. They can't make the mistakes of trying to be assertive and having their father take them by the hand and say, look, this is how you act assertively. This is how you
get up again
for what you want. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you go back and look at old cultures, there is ritual after ritual of like once a boy hits this age, and it's usually around puberty, the way he is treated in society completely changes, and he goes through a specific set of actions or a specific ritual, and the ritual itself changes from culture to culture. But essentially, what happens is before this you were a boy, and now you are a man, and we're going to teach you in this culture what it means to be a man, and then you're going to take up the title of a man, and you're going to be a brave, or you're going to be a warrior, or whatever is appropriate during that time. In older American culture, one of the big ones in my mind was at some point you would get a boy a rifle and teach him how to shoot. If you go way back, way back, right? Or
that's like 100 years ago, maybe even 50 years ago.
Yeah. But that was a specific thing that is specifically American. There's some really graphic ones that I'm not going to get into, but there's one kind of a funny one to me is I forget this, somewhere in the Alps I think there's a tribe of people, and the way that a boy becomes a man is because is he officially like announces to the village that he has given up drinking up milk entirely.
What?
Well, because originally, because the children, they go from drinking the breast milk of their mother to drinking the breast milk of a yak, right? And in both cases, in the first one, literally, in the second part, symbolically, and also kind of literally in a weird way, he is reliant for his nutrients, for the sustenance of his life on a female. And so he announces, I'm giving up milk as a symbolic sort of like, I am no longer reliant upon a woman in order for me to maintain my life.
Pajama Boy would be crushed.
Because as everyone knows, the best hot cocoa is made with hot milk. That is an undeniable fact, and I'm really glad in an American culture, giving up milk is not, because I mean, can you imagine being a man and like in America, and you can't have cheese, you can't have milk, you can't have chocolate milk, you can't have ice cream, like that's like pizza and
gonna have to start eating cookies
Sunday,
with sake.
That's all gone. It's all gone. Like on my profile, admission, I have an OkCupid dating profile. And don't you dare judge me, man. Don't you dare. Don't.
Very well. I will judge you silently then.
On the profile I have is like one of the 6 things I can't do without is chocolate milk, because it is so delicious and filling and wonderful. And if I lived in a culture where, like, in order to declare your manhood, if I grew up in that culture, I would not know what chocolate milk is, granted, so it wouldn't be that big a decision for me. But still, at being me and loving chocolate milk, I'm just like, so close,
John,
so far away.
Why'd you start dipping your cookies into hard liquor? I don't want to talk about it.
Is there a way to put like chocolate in? No, chocolate is made with milk too. Dang it! I can't even have chocolate.
You could just have, cocoa. It'd be a little weird.
And cookies. Cookies are made with milk, man. Cookies are made with milk. I have to dip my vanilla wafers in whiskey and gunpowder.
I chew the cocoa bean, spit it into the infuser. That's how I get some.
I just eat raw cocoa at this point. It's the only way I can get close to my own love, chocolate.
I will never leave you again, my beautiful.
But like being 26, I've gotten to the point now where because I've been ready to settle down. Not necessarily like the next girl I date, I'm gonna be like, marry me now. But like if the relationships hits that level of seriousness, where like we're a year in and we seem really compatible, where I'm gonna start asking the question to myself, like, is this a girl that I want to spend the rest of my life with? One of the questions that's come up to me is, what am I going to do 15, 16 years down the road when I have a son and he's hitting puberty and he's all of a sudden noticing, like, oh my God, if I look at girls my age, I'm seeing these curves start to develop and I am insanely fascinated by them. And I don't know why, but like, I'm just feeling these weird urges I've never felt before.
And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I've noticed that this interest is directly proportional to the growth of hair in strange places.
It's weird. It's weird stuff, man. I don't even know. Let's get our aluminum hats, man.
Is that why Dad's boring? Because he lost all his hair? You lose all excitement in the world? Because right now.
No, it's because it transfers down and to your back. That's why. Like, that's what it just, you don't actually get.
My excitement fell down my back.
It relocates is what happens. All my hair just like went down here and down my chest.
Screw you guys, I'm going south.
Like when you're asleep, this is one of the things. Like when you're asleep and you're dreaming, like it just like they just like a little inchworms, they just start going down. It's got weirdly specific now. Anyways, the point is when I become a father, I now have questions that I plan on having answered. I have over a decade to do it, But what am I going to do? What am I going to say to my son when
Day 617
he hits puberty?
He still can't talk yet. Still not sure how to answer question. On side note,
son make grunting noise when looking at girl. It is time.
Father proud. Give him best club.
Don't mess with me, man. Best club goes to him after I get eaten by a T-Rex and not before. He gets second best club.
That's oddly specific. All right, T-Rex.
If I get eaten by anything less, my club dies with me. That's all I'm saying.
All right, T-Rex, just hold off a little bit longer. Oh, you're
like he just crunches on my ribcage. I'm like, here, number one son, take. Like a frisbee, just goes off. But that's like how do I in this day and age, I'm gonna have to sit him down and be like, listen, you need to understand that the girls that you are now seeing, that you are now becoming fascinated with, there are specific ways of interacting with them. They are not going to react to you the same way that they react to guys. And you've already noticed this. And, you know, the way society will judge you for interacting with women in a particular way is not going to be the same way that it judges you for interacting with a man. You know, I'm going to have to sit him down and explain to him, like, yes, it's going to be, if a girl hits you, it's going to be incredibly unfair. And in most situations, you're going to have to sit there and not do anything. And I'm going to have to explain to him, like, you know, you're going to need to go and if you want to be in a relationship, you're going to have to go and find women that interest you and approach them.
Don't suppose you could tell him, learn to dodge or learn to pick better girls.
This is awesome. Yeah, no. If a girl tries to hit me, she's gone. We're not. No, like I don't tolerate that.
Look, if I want a sparring partner,
especially because here's the thing, is this whole thing of like, you know, never hit a lady was part of, you know, when they say it's being chivalrous. I swear I talk right. I've gone to grammar school. I've gone to English class, which taught
chivalrous.
Look, man, men are just stupid. Okay, that's all.
It's the hair. Don't blame me
about that.
It's the hair.
Anyways, it's for a night talking to a lady specifically. In other words, in order to warrant being treated by a lady, you have to act like a lady. And while that doesn't mean that I'm going to just go around smacking any girl I think is a bitch, in order for you to warrant being treated like a lady, you need to, in the same way that in order for people to treat you like a proper man, you need to act like a man. In order for you to be treated like a lady, you need to act like a lady. And I think on both sides of the spectrum, this has been largely lost. Where on the one hand, you have a lot of girls who grow up, you know, basically having to fend for themselves and becoming very aggressive because they don't have another way of you know, because they don't have a guy to protect them, right? And then on the other hand, you have guys who don't know how to assert themselves properly. Let's put it that way. And so they fall either into the camp of being wussified and doing nothing, you know, where you have guys who are just total, all the guys that complain, nice guys finish last. No, it's not because you're nice. It's not. That has nothing to do with it. Nice guys you have the guys who are total assholes, right? And the girls who want an assertive guy often end up going with the assholes because that's the closest they can get. And the guys who can't assert themselves, who don't have the balls to walk up to a girl and say, hi, my name's Jonathan. You seem like you seem like a cool person, but I don't know you. Let's get to know each other. Like, you know, let's go and do something. And so we can get to know each other and see if there's something between us, right? Those guys who don't have the balls to at least do that, right? And that was a terrible, don't quote me word for word on that one. But the guys who can't do that, they end up with nothing because girls don't, you know, it's not in their nature to approach a guy. Have I been approached by women in the past? Yes. Is it the norm? No.
Dear clear, guys. No, listen. Okay, stop. I need to give some advice to John's future son. John's future son, if you hacked into John's records...
Number one son, you listen now, if you're watching this.
I have been approached.
15 years.
Now, when I tell the story, people they tell me, stop bragging, Josh. No, I'm not
Is this
bragging.
the birds and the bees conversation that you had when you were...
I'd like to think you gave him that talk before he learned to use the internet.
Okay, we're going to skip that story for now. That's a totally different story. We're going to put that away. That's just we're going to take the drawer, the man drawer, and we're going to take that story and just put it in the drawer.
You're not going to understand what some of these details mean, but it's okay. Listen.
Okay.
I've been approached by girls, and they were oddly specific about what they wanted. I'm not bragging. I didn't understand what this meant. For example, when they want to snuggle with you alone in a building and watch movies late at night, even though neither one of you are watching movies.
I know that it is.
No, you don't. It's someone else. No, I turned her down because she was creepy.
Good, because I turned her down. Okay, look, for those of you...
It's sad that, you know...
Josh and I are in different states right now, but we went to the same college, which is how we met each other. And because of the size of the college, there's a certain girl who, within certain groups of people,
in some circles, has a
in
reputation.
some circumstances, was very certain things, and not in a good way.
I knew to steer clear of that one, but in the future, I thought, oh, hey, we're all friends, and we've done it before, and oh, hey, no one else is here. Well, that's weird. All right, whatever. And then some words were said.
Your first hint or your second hint? The fact that there was no one else there. I mean, was there another hint? Were her clothes on or off?
I wasn't paying attention.
Was there gentle music playing in the background? Was there like
in the movie? Yes,
wafting smoke through the air? Were there candles lit?
Then there was another incident shortly after my girlfriend broke up with me. I was staying at someone's college because they were asking for help to move boxes and whatnot, and like, oh, hey, so we're gonna be staying in these two girls' rooms tonight. Okay, whatever. And there are only 2 beds. Okay, whatever. So Jeff ends up on the floor because he didn't want to sit next. And I was like, well, yeah, whatever. Evidently, she had ideas I did not at the time.
Wait, did you try to sleep in the same bed as her?
I figured we were on opposite sides of the apparatus, and so I didn't think it would matter. I didn't even...
Josh, okay, look...
Live and learn.
You know that whole conversation that we had earlier where men take things literally and girls connect everything to everything? This is one of those things where a girl says something that means something else that would have been very intelligent for you to say, maybe she doesn't just mean laying on the bed at the same time and doing nothing but sleeping.
And so she was actually offended when I said, yeah, I'm going to get some sleep. Good night.
Well, yeah, because she thought she was being quite clear in her communications to you.
Evidently, yes. But and then she's coming up like, oh, hi. I'm tired. I'm gonna ignore you now. No, hold on. And I won't give you all the nasty details, but eventually it ended with me hanging out in the hall for a while, wondering what on earth just happened. And then her awkwardly coming out later, it's like, so, sorry about that. And sorry about taking off my clothes. Things you never hear people apologize for.
Now, here's the thing. This is part of why I'm laughing so hard right now. Because, like I said, I read so much stuff, and I know a story of a guy who no joke, was like completely autistic, like functionally autistic, but he actually recounted a story where he's so bad at reading human body language and implicative things that he literally had a girl like undress in front of him and proposition him for sex without him realizing, and he just had no idea that she was asking him for sex. She was naked in front of him and he had no idea.
In my defense, the lights were out, and so I wasn't aware until she moved across her side of the apparatus, and I don't know if I rolled over or something, and suddenly it was hot. It was really hot. It was like, what is going on?
This is the thing that's weird for me, is in the whole, like when
I'm referring to temperature, not appeal, just so we're clear.
When it comes to foreplay, I'm more the fan of it should exist, not like you take off your clothes and I'll take off my clothes, and then and only that whole part where at the end of the level Mario like goes down the hole. I'm a fan of playing the whole level before Mario goes down in the hole, if you know what I mean. Like I don't just
Otherwise, why'd you buy the game?
Right. Exactly. Why otherwise would you buy the game? That's a very adequate way of putting it. So it just, that's so weird. I don't know how I would react to that.
Evidently, people were shocked when they heard this story the next day. They're like, what did you think was happening? The only person who understood was the other guy who I was traveling with. Is like, So I was surprised when you were okay with this plan. You know, this girl and I have an understanding, so we knew nothing was going to happen, but we honestly thought that you were propositioning her.
Wait, what? Because here's the thing. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, oh my God, if your genders were reversed right now, and like you had a girl sleep on your bed. Now, granted, she would understand the meaning, so this probably wouldn't happen. But if she had been sleeping on your bed and you had just like taken off all your clothes and started coming onto her like that,
I would be arrested.
You would probably end up being in a much less comfortable room for a while. Let's just put it that way. And
someone else would be willing to oblige me, just not in the way I intended.
someone else, a much more fat, masculine human being might be able to take your virginity for you. Let's just put it that way.
And so there was no hard feeling. I don't keep in touch with this girl anymore. Although, whenever I run into her roommate now, my friend's friend, every time I run into, she still asks about you. Do you want to know if you're actually human or not? Because evidently, she couldn't believe that anyone turned her down.
Okay, let's be fair, because you actually need because you have a weirdest accent of most people I've ever met. And it's not so bad right now. It's not so bad as it used to be whenever we first met.
I'm hurt.
I'm sorry.
Not
it's
really.
just
Not
civilian life has aged
sometimes.
you, my friend. You become part of the masses. I don't know what to tell you. That's just what it is.
Look, it does that sometimes. It'll pass.
I still. Is it okay if I tell this? I am still flabbergasted that you learning, what was it, how to be Hannibal Lecter? Was that the part you played?
Jonathan Brewster in Arsenic and Old Lace.
Right, and they had Josh like develop exquisite posture and exquisite word enunciation. And it used to be, apparently he could. I have not had this verified, but this is going by his testimony. He could walk like 200 feet in a straight line with his eyes closed and have the line be perfectly straight because his posture was so perfect. And
that's, we haven't actually tested that one. I bet you I could.
Not since college. I think you demonstrated it for about 20 feet in college, and it was decent, like very straight. But I don't think you might be able to do like 20 feet now, but not 200. I don't think you could.
Then again, that was because you would come up and say, "No, Josh, you have to swing your arms when you walk." You actually tried to give me a walking tutorial.
We can actually go heavy into body language, and this is true that you are supposed to swing your arms are a counterbalance to your legs, but for the purpose of walking really, really straight and nothing else, you did have it right. I'm not going to dispute that. I won't. If your only goal when you're walking is just to walk really, 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 really straight with your eyes closed, you got it.
Everyone has a talent.
And yours would be make that smile again?
Everyone has a talent. I'm not sure which smile you mean.
The one where you look like you're going to like chop me up and make me into stir fry.
Dear boy, I'm hurt. You wound me.
Look, it's not that I'm afraid of you per se. Just understand that's the way I feel towards you.
We're touching.
We're gonna go with this way.
Look, there was actually a point to telling that story because I didn't know it at the time. My naivete spared me a great deal because had I known what was going on and had I obeyed what would have been the natural male inclination when a woman throws herself at you for certain physical activities.
Unscrupulous.
What I didn't know at the time was that the only reason they'd approached me is because of severe psychological damage.
Dun, dun, dun!
I didn't know this, but in both cases, well, actually, it was more than both cases because we're going to stick with both. For now, it's best we stick with the two we already mentioned and nothing more. But you see, these turned out to be damaged individuals.
No.
And In some cases, I actually talked to their ex-boyfriends after the fact, and it turns out... Oh, did I mention they're both socialists? It wouldn't have worked. They're feminist socialists.
I'm glad the feminist socialist part and not the whole being psychologically unhinged and just randomly trying to take advantage guys is the part that... If only they'd been conservative. If only they'd been conservative.
I'm mental, but I memorized the Constitution.
That's right. If only they just spewed the Constitution while writing you, you would have been totally okay with it. Wait, so are you telling me that if you had been aware at that time, if you had been aware of what's going on as you were at that time, that you would have totally banged her?
I don't know, but knowing my own weaknesses, I think I might have. Let me put it this way. Eventually, you pick it up. You realize what's happening, and it is really uncomfortable. And you're not sure why, but for some reason, when a girl you barely know or only just started getting to know is that forward with you, the guy gets uncomfortable, and he doesn't know why. I think I understand why. Because if the guy isn't going and establishing normal relations, setting a rapport with this person, it's frightening.
Well, okay.
I honestly believe
not that this is any at all related to to this broadcast. Now I'm just interested in this. When you say uncomfortable, like, do you mean like awkward, like socially awkward, or do you mean like I am really uncomfortable, almost to the point of being totally freaked out and scared?
Okay, scared is not a good word, because the fact of the matter
on the hinge, like oh my god, something like there's something not okay with this right now.
It's somewhere in between. This is actually a little off-putting, and I need an adult. Somewhere in that range.
And thus, Josh's masculinity was sealed forever in that direction, away from him.
No, but it's actually a little off-putting, and I never understood why.
Let me propose something to you, because, like I said, I'm a genius at everything apparently.
Seriously, if I knew half of what I know now back then,
let me suggest this to you, because this is what's coming to my mind, right? Whenever you have sex with a person, both sides are being very, very vulnerable. And so when someone comes on to you sexually, they are trying to make you vulnerable without you being willing to be vulnerable. And in that sense, it feels like an emotional demand for you to be vulnerable that you can't, accommodate. And because she's coming onto you almost without any seeming reason, it activates a lot of like this could be there's something that feels wrong about this. If I make myself vulnerable, I have no clue what's going to happen next. And that is not okay for me as a man to allow to happen.
It's funny, in the second case that I mentioned, once I got an inkling of what was actually going on, I actually said, hey, look, let's stop and go to bed. And I tried to be as diplomatic as possible, because I thought if I simply calmly explained my position,
oh my God,
it would be okay. I actually said this, and I can't believe that I uttered this corny line. I said, listen, I didn't earn you, so let's just go back.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Trying to be the little diplomat. Unfortunately, she wasn't interested in that little diplomat. But
she doesn't want that kind of diplomat. She wants you to take your treaty all the way to her castle, man.
This is wrong on so many levels.
And she wants to sign your name and...
Oh!
Okay, we're done. But...
I autographed it in invisible ink.
Well, not quite invisible, let's say.
Give it a minute.
You're infertile?
No.
I'm just sitting here
moving on.
Well, I'm glad, ladies. Joshua is single. He's
I am the avatar of birth control.
He's single and ready to mingle, if you know what I mean, in a sexual kind of way. Okay, here's a question for you. Okay,
I think there's a reason for this, and I'll get to it after your question.
Would you consider yourself ready to settle down?
I've thought about it, and considering I'm not dating anyone right now, no. But if I were going steady with someone, I think so.
Even as you are right now.
Well, I still have a lot of growing up I'd like to do, but
well, let me put it to you this way. So you are currently, like, given your current, I'm not going to reveal any details that you don't want me to, but given your current job situation, housing situation, and the state that you live in, if you were dating a girl steady right now, would you choose, and she was open to getting married, would you propose to her now, or would you wait until certain circumstances had changed? And I know that's super vague for anyone watching, but
I can
you're gonna have to deal
get
with
by
it.
on my own pretty well. If I could get in a position where I could actually support her, I'd propose the next day.
Okay.
You kidding?
Okay,
The
so
next
then you
day.
would. So when you say ready to settle, it's like emotionally, I'm ready to take that journey with someone, but I would wait until I was the economically ready to take
Until
that
I'm
journey.
ecologically ready.
Join my ship of dollars, why don't you, lady? You can hop on board. I'll take you to Paradise Island, which has a house that I paid for, and the mortgage is all taken care of.
Let's just
Right
say
this way.
when it comes to horticulture, I'm ecologically ready.
Me and horticulture. This is so
Pleasure
bad.
Island ladies.
I know it's like a giant desert out there.
Oh my.
I can't take this seriously. Like, my cheeks actually hurt from smiling right now. It's bad. Would you agree? Is this also a phenomenon? I'm so used to being a tough male. Ugh. Those muscles are very well, like, exercised. You know, I can do that all day. But the smiling is just so unusual for me. It's like,
What is this aliens? I
what is
disagree.
this feeling that I have on my face? I don't understand. What
I
does
think-
it mean? What does it mean, Joshua?
Look, at my job, I quickly discovered that guys tend to smile a lot more than girls. Now, girls are very good at timing their smiles to work to their advantage in a certain situation, but guys tend to smile a lot more, even though they're doing crappier jobs. And so I think guys just smile without realizing it. It's only when our sides of our mouths start aching, like, oh, I guess I was working out my smile.
I don't know where you work, but most of my jobs, I never see men smile. Actually, the thing I was gonna say is the thing that I think. Okay, let's say for a moment.
I'm not saying they are smiling all the time, but comparatively speaking.
By the way, guys, I'm about to say something that you need to pay attention to because it's true. Most guys suck. Most guys suck at eye contact. Horrendously. Actually, did you and I talk about this?
Not at all, and I never noticed. But then again, people tell me I have the opposite problem.
I don't know, it's possible, but a lot of guys actually have a problem where they refuse to look at a woman too long because, like, if they look at a woman for like more than 3 seconds, and they could be in like a face-to-face conversation, but they just can't do it. Like, they can't,
because they'll get accused of rape.
No, well, but here's the thing: is that most girls are also painfully aware of this, and they're like, no guy looks me in the eye. No guy will not just sit there and just look at me with confidence. It's not like yes, I'm listening to everything you're saying right now. I'm here and I'm listening. Hi, how are you? My name is Jonathan. Like, that would be creepy. But if a guy's able to just sit here and like say she's elaborating on an answer, like he asked her a question, she's saying something, for him to simply just look at her and totally just be present, where he's like saying, like, I'm aware of everything and I'm aware of you and we're just having this conversation and everything's cool.
Might I make a suggestion?
What?
I think I know why. Going back to something we were talking about earlier about men growing up. Now imagine you're in the classroom. Guy looks at a girl looks back, and then all the girls huddle together and start giggling. And you are embarrassed. I don't
think that's it. I don't think that's it.
No, Hank, hear me out. Hear me out. Or another situation, you look at a girl and the adult says, "Now stop that." It's a learned behavior. I think that guys could probably learn to maintain decent eye contact if their dad does so outside.
Okay,
if they see their dad
yes.
doing it.
But
But if that behavior is never reinforced, what behavior will be reinforced in its place? To avoid eye contact. If there are negative repercussions for maintaining eye contact with a girl, hey, you can chatter your teeth all you like.
I'm just here like fucking around. No, what I was actually gonna say, and as a male, I tend to be very emotionally in tune with myself, which is why I like to laugh at. That's an interesting way of putting it. Let me put it this way. I generally operate under the very arrogant but provably accurate assumption that I'm emotionally in tune with myself, and as a result, I'm usually very good at identifying what's going on inside of a person's mind whenever they say or do something.
Uh-huh.
And so when most guys, whenever they look away, like they look at a girl and they, like the moment she looks at him, he's like, like looks away. The reason why is like as soon as he perceives her noticing him, there's a spike of fear that occurs right at that instant. Like a really small, subtle, but it's just like fear and looks away. Because he's afraid that if she sees him staring at her, she's going to perceive it as creepy. And so he's afraid of being perceived as creepy.
Where do you suppose, dear?
Well, but here's the thing. Most girls don't think that. There are some guys like what's gonna the only way that a girl is gonna perceive a guy looking at her as creepy is generally in the scenario where she notices him looking, and that's fine. And then 5 minutes, a couple minutes later, she looks over and he's still staring at her. And then a few minutes later, she looks over and he's still staring at her. And then a few minutes later, she looks over and he's still staring at her. That's when it gets creepy. But for a girl to look and see a guy just looking at her and just observing her, or maybe even enjoying looking at her, unless the guy's staring there going like, something like that.
I'll tell you what,
a creepy way to look at a girl. But if
I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I'm actually going to disagree. You have the right idea, but you have the wrong motive. What guys don't see.
You mean for the guys?
No, I mean for the girls, for perceiving something as creepy.
By the way, just so you know, I'm going off this personally off the basis of multiple girls testifying this to me, both publicly and in different forms, and also to me personally. So
personally, I tend to see it is if a guy's looking at you, you don't mind if certain guys look at you until it passes a certain time limit, and then it becomes creepy. But if a guy you're not interested in looking at you is looking at you, it's a look of disgust.
No, I would actually say no. I would.
Oh no, I'm not backing down.
Okay, no, I know what you're referring to, but usually it has nothing to do with eye contact. But if a guy in some way indicates interest to a girl, and she's not interested in him, and she's not attracted to him, I will agree that there is a
You've never been to school in New Jersey.
Being creepy.
Evidently, you've never been to school anywhere on the East Coast.
Did you just hear what I said, boy? Did you just hear? Did you just hear?
I'm sorry, I can't take your man seriously when you look like Urkel from Family Matters.
Were you listening to a thing that I said? I don't think so.
Okay, I hear your words, but when I see your face moving, all I hear is, "What did I do that?"
I'm just saying. Because the thing is that usually girls don't go through life like judging guys instantly on how they see them.
Evidently, you've never been to New Jersey. All right, maybe.
If a girl is in a mood to do so, yes, but going about her,
we call them feminists.
Let's also admit that New Jersey's a little messed up, as is much of New York City.
New York doesn't seem to be a whole lot different.
Not the whole, just like that much of it, just this much. But no, that is my opinion. Most guys can actually get away with way more, and I've actually found this true because, like I said, I pay attention to a lot of dating stuff, and a lot of dating coaches have actually found it to be true that usually the guys aren't using enough eye contact to the point where they literally say to the guys, "Listen, you just keep using eye contact. I will tell you when it actually gets weird." And this is both from male and female dating coaches, because the guys are so almost like intimidated at the thought of being just okay with stating what they are, who they are. Like, which is okay. Just got so many guys are not able to just be okay with being like, yeah, I'm looking at you. So what? It's not an obligation. I'm just observing you.
It's funny, you're going on about this, and all I'm thinking is that maybe it has more to do with your region than any universal truth, just because listening to, again, a lot of J-bloggers and a few Korean bloggers talking about the differences between American eye contact and pretty much everywhere else in the world.
Okay. This is interesting because I will agree. What I'm saying is very much an American thing. Girls in America are want way more eye contact.
Don't get me wrong. I'm going to argue a few points for you and then take a few back.
Okay, well, tell me, because I will admit I know nothing about Asian culture in terms of dating, other than the fact that a lot of people have told me who have dated Asian women who are American have outright said like go to Japan and get a wife. Like if you want a good wife, go to Japan and marry a girl from there.
Okay,
then bring her back home with you.
Now there's a drawback. Now listen, guys, there are some definite not disadvantages. I don't think it's a disadvantage, but they will be tougher on you than almost anyone else in the entire world. Japanese and Korean to a lesser extent, but especially Japanese and to an extent Chinese are known for being very strict wives. As in they have very high expectations for what they expect of you.
Okay.
Which is great.
Are they able to communicate it well? That's kind of the important part.
They can.
They can?
And they happen to like foreigners, and it's the reason why they said go over there is because Japanese guys especially
they don't have penises. They don't even get them.
They are terrified. That's why there are people who specifically will only date foreign guys, because a lot of the things that are supposed to be culturally unacceptable, Japanese women like. Right. Like eye contact, for example. Technically,
and also there's kind of two things. There's one, you have this whole thing where culturally, the Japanese culture is very like, I won't say anti-sex, but like they don't talk about sex. Like just sex is not discussed. We don't, that's not.
Holding hands is the equivalent of making out in Japan.
Yeah. Okay. That's the one half. And then also you have a problem where, and I do know this is where you actually have some Japanese men, and I think this might actually be a South Korean thing too, where some men have actually taken to the point where they just become completely androgynous, like completely sexless intentionally, like they don't want sex and they become completely androgynous. And it's like, have you heard of sex?
It's becoming a problem in the otaku culture, especially, where people will sleep with body pillows because they're to regular girls. That's why, another reason why Japanese girls and even Korean girls, they like foreigners, because especially Americans, despite our reputation for being awful tourists, on the whole, we're way more polite, we'll look you in the eye, we smile, and in terms of public displays of affection, Westerners are oblivious to Asian cultural norms of keep it to yourself, and so they are willing to be affectionate in public. And at first it's all putting like, no, we're not supposed to do the hands together, girl.
Well, because here's the interesting thing is that in America, this whole the stigma of public sex is, at this point in America, everyone's like, you're not supposed to have, do sex in public, but it's like really, really hot, right? So in the same way that public sex can be super, super hot because it's naughty in America, for Japanese women, something like holding hands or kissing in Japan is so forbidden that it becomes this like totally erotic thing. Whereas in America, it just doesn't matter. Like if you don't hold hands with your girlfriend in America, people will be like, "What's?" Actually, no, I do know a lot of couples in America who don't hold hands, which is a little bit sad. Like
it's sad, but
in my opinion, and this is just my unsolicited opinion, if people, when you're married, okay. If when you meet people, if they're not assuming that you guys are just newlyweds or doing something wrong. Do you get that? Does that make sense?
A little bit.
In other words,
another thing I noticed that.
In other words, you guys should be so like. In other words, if you have a healthy relationship, if a man and woman have a really healthy relationship, it's like constantly so much fun and so exciting and so stimulating to be around each other.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous. A lot of times, you adopt this like really giggly, fun silliness around each other, and that's when people say, "Oh, you're newly," you guys are just a new couple, right? Because that's just exciting, and it's my personal opinion that if when I get married, I want our relationship to be so healthy and energetic and vivacious and vibrant that like every time we meet someone new, they're like, "Oh, are you guys newlyweds?" I mean, obviously, when we're 80 years old, that the people saying that probably won't be as many, but I want it to be like I worked at retail stores for a while, and you know what? The couples that made my day, like I just loved, is when the couples were flirting back and forth, when the guy was like just being brash and ridiculous, and he knew it, like he wasn't being an ass, and he was like flirting and teasing. The girl was like flirting right back. Like that just made my day. I love that. I absolutely hate it as a guy who worked who worked behind a cashier, who worked in the produce, all that. Whenever I would see couples shopping, and tell me if you recognize this one, Josh. The woman's sitting there, standing there. She's pushing the cart. She's doing all the work, and she's talking. The guy's just plodding along, like a foot behind and a foot to the side, with his face just straight down at the ground. Does that sound familiar at all? Painfully, yeah, exactly.
Okay, listen, I get that in shoe stores. I get that when she's underwear shopping, or if you're asked to hold the nuclear football, also known as the purse, then I understand why you want to do
that. I like that. Well, did you see on YouTube video somewhere? There's like a guy who actually came up with a really smart trick for doing that. It's like you bring with you as a male. If in case it's ever happened, you just bring like a sports bag from like a Dick's Sporting Goods bag. And whenever your wife hands you your purse, you just stuff it in there and just stand there with your dick. Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? Just here with my football. Just here with some tennis racket and stuff.
There are a few tricks because I've been asked to hold purses both by my mom, girlfriend, female friends. I've had the whole spectrum. Right. And so depending on who it is, with mom, you let it hang down and just hang out by your feet. So that way it looks like you could kick it at any moment, because then you can retain your dignity. With girlfriend, you can hold it like this, so that way people realize you're trying to keep it close, but it obviously makes you uncomfortable, and they get a laugh at it, and then you can start a conversation that way. I've done it. It actually works.
Really? Just like
yes.
Like
no, not like that. You look like Urkel again. No, just start it, John. Not like that.
What do I do with this thing? I don't know. Do I hold on to it? What I actually end up doing is, because if someone asks me to wait, generally I'm the kind of dick who just doesn't do like when I go shopping with someone, I actually go shopping. So like I'm actually, this is again bragging, the kind of guy that I can actually go with a woman shopping for girls' clothes and actually give her legitimate responses, where I can actually like and enjoy it, because it's fun. You make it into a fun thing where like
yeah, I've worn that once. Yeah, that'll look good on you too.
I mean, you look great in those heels, but I could probably outwalk you. Just saying.
You couldn't even wear my glasses.
But no, it's fun. Like and by the way, guys, if you're watching, like if your girl is going into like Victoria's Secret, okay, to go try on lingerie, why are you staying outside? Like, if you're with the girl, everyone understands you're with the girl. You're not being creepy and like, shopping for,
She's your pass.
And if you're smart about it, you can get your girl to model for you, and it's fun for both of you, because then she gets to be really sexy for you and show off and be, teasing, and you get to sit there and have your girl model for you. I mean,
actually, I had a girl.
It's either that or you stand out there awkwardly looking like a creep. So, I mean, where?
I ended up striking up a conversation with someone because I was shopping with a girl and she was asking for feedback on how a dress looked on her butt. You can't make these stories up. And someone else was listening in and started laughing hysterically and said, no, listen. Sometimes there comes a time in every man's life that he needs to do his duty and stand and survey to make sure the gates of hell don't open up through. And then I stopped because the image was too much.
The gates of hell open, really? But look,
I made a friend that day, and
I'm just gonna say it. If a girl says like, "Hey, how does this make my ass look?" What I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna go in there and grab it and be like, "Oh, yeah, pretty good."
Just don't say, let me take a closer look.
Let me
Because
take a
they
closer
know
look.
that trick.
Pull out the monocle and just be like, oh, yes, it looks quite, yes, well, would you bend over a little bit more? Oh, thank you. Yes, it looks quite dashing, don't you think?
Is exquisite.
Yes, you see the supple cheek goes just into the thigh so seamlessly. It's like a work of art, really. It's just, oh, I must have you, madam. I must have you. I did not see it before, but now I want you.
To the dressing room.
Over there, let's go and fornicate until they kick us out, because that's the kind of man I am, and that's the kind of woman I want you to be.
Look, they'll all be jealous of us anyway. They'll chase us out. But in their hearts will be desire.
Lady, I just want you to know
I'm fitting room material. Care to try me on?
Just so you know, I have a mobile stripper pole attached to my body. We're just gonna. I'm just gonna be over here. This has been the Conservative Echo Chamber on why,
You just wanted to talk about relationship troubles.
Yeah.
Because you're a red-blooded American male. You got ladies on the mind.
There for a minute. I'm back. I'm good. I'm ready to roll. I'm here.
Ladies.
Hi. Ladies.
I'm ready.
Let me just say,
the glasses are ready for you now.
Me and you and me, both of us together. Is that what was that from? What was that from?
I have no idea, but
That was from a movie. I know that. Not Shrek.
You know what?
Monsters Inc. Monsters
I
Inc.
know exactly what you're going to do now. You are going to start singing that to a girl one time, and your pickup line is like, "Hey, I can't remember what song that is. Think you could help me out?"
By the way, guys,
Free advice.
Look, guys, if you, by the way, other dating advice, guys, look, if you do watch a movie with a girl, and on the assumption that you're not just trying to, let's go home and watch Netflix, that's not a euphemism for anything.
You don't
Assuming
even
you're
have
not doing that.
Netflix.
Assuming you're inviting her to a movie to actually watch
a movie. Because
I know, crazy, right? Disney movies, like any Disney movie, is especially old ones. I know it sounds a little dumb and weird, but here's the thing: is one, most girls love Disney movies, and even us guys tend to have a couple fun, Disney movies that we're real big fans of. It totally takes her back to being a girl and being fun and silly and not worrying about anything. So like if you want to have a fun date, and if you can sing, it's bonus points, and you put on a musical, extra bonus points. Because and by the way, like, who doesn't want like no one has ever, I don't know anyone who's done a first date movie watching and they put on like Saving Private Ryan, where the girl's like, that was really good, let's make out now. I've never, maybe I missed the stories, maybe, but like that's never happened. That's why most of when you
only Gladiator puts me
online, this is what I've noticed, Josh, and I don't know why, but girls tend to be really into documentaries. And I'm suspecting that, and this is me totally off the wall guessing, but I think it has to do with enjoying all the beautiful scenery and what's normally cute and cuddly animals. And also it's really enjoyable for a girl to sit down and listen to a person just like totally take them on this adventure where now we're going to explore this totally different world.
Well, I took that, I modified it. Girl I'm interested in, actually. We took a trip to the zoo, and I was expecting the Bronx Zoo because that was the zoo I went to as a kid, and it's a fantastic zoo. This was not the Bronx Zoo. In fact,
Really?
it was more like a rundown barn for much of it. But I made it work because I provided commentary. I created characters for all of the animals. And she still remembers that. Oh, Harold, does my fur look right? Klein, again, will you?
Why are you so vain? Why, you're just an animal, man. Just lick that shit up and look. It'll be fine by the morning.
Oh, Harold, I can't help that I'm gorgeous.
Clearly, these were alpacas, right?
Actually, they were lemurs. There weren't even
well,
any
that is
alpacas.
also okay. That Harold is a very fine lemur name. I will grant you that.
Oh, Harold.
Of course, if you named one Albert, he would just go insane and just start killing all the other lemurs, as we know. Albert sounds like a nerdy name for a human, but like a serial killer name for a lemur, is what I'm getting at.
I'm surprised there's a classification for serial killer lemurs.
I'm just saying, right? But look, hyena though, Albert as a hyena, totally feasible. Totally feasible. Like nerdy, but also hilarious. And we're ignoring the fact that hyenas are hilarious by nature. What do you think of Sally as a hyena name? Albert's and Sally?
It works better than Deborah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, Deborah would not be. Another serial killer name for a hyena. Or someone who would be insane. Oh, look, Deborah ate another animal again while it was still alive. What? I don't know what to do with her.
Deborah. That's like calling her Bruce. I'm just asking for trouble.
Bruce is also not a good hyena name. As a
it's
guy,
not a good animal name in general, come to think of it.
Horse. It would work good for a horse. I could say a horse named Bruce. Actually, my favorite horse names thus far. Okay, my favorite. That's a lie. It's just my favorite horse was named Doc.
Okay.
But here's the thing. It was a gray and white speckled horse. Doc.
That works.
Right? Yeah, that
works.
It totally works. And he was like the number 2 horse in the herd too. Or no, number 3. He was right under the 2 giant Clydesdale horses, Jake and Amos, which are fantastic names for Clydesdale horses, granted. But he was an intelligent man. He was such an intelligent horse, but he could be mean. Like you had to be on your toes around Doc, which at me being really competitive, like I really love, because I can do like dumb horses, but I really like a horse that has a mind of its own. I don't know why. It's just my thing. Sorry, I'm like in the middle of reminiscing about all the times I've gone horseback riding, and
if you know what I mean.
No, real horses, man. Real horses, like fucking giant.
Hey, that's what you're into.
Thing, not fake, not
you
a furry
might
fetish.
Use your expletives a bit more carefully when talking about this subject. Just a thought.
Like horses, man. So I'm going not tomorrow, but now Thursday I'm actually going to not a horse farm, but a couple that owns a whole bunch of horses to help work the horses. And now all I want to do is like just show up there like with 2 coconuts and be like, I'm ready to work. Where am I training? Which would of course leave a terribly good impression on them.
Not sure how you'll do on the jumps, but with practice.
Well, I can throw a horse very far when a horse is a coconut. So what I'll do is I'll alley-oop it and then run around and catch it, and the horse will be unharmed, presumably.
No horses were harmed.
We're done. We're just gonna This has been the Conservative Echo Chamber. I know I've worn a painful shirt to wear. It's just like, how does this look on video, Josh? Be honest.
Honestly, on my end, it's pixelating out of his existence. It looks like the Matrix is about to collapse.
That's right. Welcome to the Conservative Echo Chamber, where the Matrix has you. Oh.
That was an exquisite boob shot. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. I worked hard for these pecs. They're not done yet, but soon they'll be just like David, the statue. The statue.
I wasn't sure who you were talking about at first. Like,
we're gonna leave
someday
now
I'll be as dreamy as David.
David, the guy with a sling, like, kind of
Isn't he a
cheating on
kid?
his wife, man.
He's tainted goods. Not good for you, girl.
I just want to say how sucky it must have been. Who was Bathsheba's husband? Something to start with the U.
Or is it Uzziah?
Anyways, how
One of them
shitty,
foreigners.
how shitty must have been like you just got this really hot wife that you're like so like she's amazing in every way, and then like you're going to the army for the king, and then there's like we're gonna go to battle now, and then you're up there at the front lines, and all of a sudden everyone around you is like just see you later, man. See ya. No reason why. Just you hold the line, man. You hold the line.
I bet you the soldiers were okay with it because they all were into Bathsheba too, and they were pissed at that guy for getting the hot wife, and so they were okay with this plan. Little did you know.
They're like, you just stay out there and fight. We'll be back. Lunch break.
Don't have to ask us twice, King.
Sorry, no biggie. Like you short straw, man. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, who urinated in my wine skin again? Somebody. It's because I'm a foreigner, isn't it?
Loin skin? Really?
Wine skin.
Wine.
Okay.
Sounds like loin
Who
skin.
urinated in
Do you
my
know what loins
skin?
are, man? Do you know what loins are?
It's because you're circumcised. You just want to rub it in, don't you?
You couldn't circumcise buffoons. Don't know anything. All right, this has been the Conservative Echo Chamber on relationships and other related things that are not related to relationships, but kind of not really. We'll see you next time.
I'm curious to see where this goes, actually.
Steady.
All right, I think he's had enough. All right, good night, everyone.